Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience, and I'm here tonight with my first impressions of the Fiio K7 headphone amp and DAC combination. And this was loaned to me by Apos Audio for review. It currently sells at $199.99, and this is a combination DAC and headphone amp, and according to Fiio, this is truly balanced. It uses dual AK4493 SEQ DAC chips, and those support PCM signals up to 768 kilohertz and DSD up to 512. This has two amp modules, and they are THX AAA 788 Plus. Apparently they're the same amp modules that were in the K9 Pro that I reviewed, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I really did like that amp, but it's an amp DAC combination also, but quite a bit more expensive. So anyway, this is rated at 2,000 milliwatts per channel into 32 ohms at 1% distortion. And that is from the balanced output. And also from the balanced output, it's rated at 560 milliwatts into 300 ohms at 1% distortion. It has 3 digital inputs, and that would be coax, optical, and USB. It has 1 analog input, which would be a set of RCA jacks on the rear. It has 3 analog outputs, that would be your 6.3 millimeter headphone output on the front, the 4.4 millimeter balanced headphone output on the front, and a set of RCA outputs on the rear. And those can be used either fixed, so it acts as a standalone DAC, or by flipping a switch, they can be volume controlled, and you can use this as a preamp. Fiio claims a signal to noise ratio of 128 decibels. This amp has 2 gain settings, a high and low. The size of this is 4.7 inches wide, it's 6.6 inches deep, and 2.1 inches tall, and weighs in at 1.3 pounds. That's not including the external power supply, which is included with this amp. You have first your power cord, which goes from your outlet to the power supply. Then your 12-volt DC power supply that plugs into the back of the amp. And this also comes with a USB cable and a 3.5 millimeter to 6.3 millimeter headphone adapter. I want to move in a little closer, give you a close-up look at this. And you can see the front's kind of dominated by a large volume knob, and I really like that. I hate amps with tiny little volume knobs that are really touchy, so this is pretty good size. And it also has LED lights around it that indicate what your sampling rate is coming into your digital sampling rate coming into your unit. So on the front here, you have your input selector, and that goes through your 3 digital and 1 analog inputs. And there's little LED lights up here across the top that show which input you're on. You just toggle through it. Then you've got your gain control here, high and low gain. And then this switch switches from either DAC, like a standalone DAC, preamp, or your headphone outputs. And then over here, you've got your 6.3 millimeter headphone output and your 4.3 or 4.4 millimeter balanced headphone output. Then on the rear, you have your power supply input here, where you plug in your 12-volt DC power supply. Then you've got your coax connection, which is a type B. You've got your optical, I'm sorry, not your coax, your USB connection. Then your optical, and then your coax connection, and then you've got your analog RCA input jacks here, and your analog RCA output that once again can be used as a standalone DAC or volume control to use this as a preamp. So before I talk about the sound of this, I wanted to mention the equipment I've used. And so far, my input into this has been USB coming from my HP desktop computer. I'm running Windows 10. And I'm using Windows Media Player, and I'm listening to CDs that were ripped to Windows Media Player and WAV lossless format. The headphones I've used with this so far have been primarily the Hi-Fi Man Aria Organic, and for a few minutes I even tried the Hi-Fi Man Susvara, which is an extremely hard headphone to drive, to see how much power this puts out. And I was actually surprised it did a pretty good job. So basically the sound of this, I would say it's neutral to just slightly warm of neutral, but it has a very clean, detailed sound. Very clean for an amp DAC of this price range. It has a large sound stage in both width and depth, and very good separation of instruments and vocals and everything. Everything's in its own place. Nothing is, blurred together. It has tight, solid bass, well controlled. It's dynamic. It's punchy, and I was really surprised. But 2 watts per channel is a pretty decent output. And it actually did a pretty respectable job of driving the Susvara. I compared this briefly to my iFi Zen DAC, and that is the original Zen DAC, which I think sold for about $129. Now they're on the Zen DAC 3, which I'm not sure. I think the Zen DAC 2 was $199, the same price as this. I'm not sure about the Zen DAC 3, but this did quite a bit better job with the Susvara. It definitely has more power than the Zen DAC did, or my Zen DAC 1 anyway. I'm not sure about the newer ones. I haven't heard them. But anyway, so I'm going to keep this video kind of short. This is just a first impressions, but basically my bottom line is this is a very simple, no frills amp DAC. There's nothing fancy about it. It doesn't have a remote control. It doesn't have variable digital filters that you can go through, things like that. Just, a volume knob, an input switch, a gain switch, and, pretty simple. But I do like the fact that it has 3 digital inputs and not just, a lot of amp DACs at this price only have a USB out or input and don't have the coax and optical input. So I really like that about it. And once again, I like the large volume knob, and it actually, to turn this on and off, the volume knob clicks and then you turn it, and it's kind of non-linear. It starts out real slow, but as you go farther, it starts gaining in volume quickly. And yeah, when I had the Susvara hooked up to this, I was probably around about 4 o'clock on the volume knob, but it was actually playing not only plenty loud, but it actually had strong, solid bass, which the Susvara does not have when underpowered. So this has enough power for probably any planar magnetic headphone that you can throw at it, and even does a respectable job with the Susvara, and I'm sure also the HE6, which is similar to the Susvara as far as power requirements. So bottom line, simple, no frills, great sounding amp DAC at a very reasonable price of $199. And I don't think I mentioned the enclosure of this. The chassis is aluminum. This isn't plastic. So that's, another, plus for this. So pretty impressive at the price. And I'll spend some more time with this, try some other headphones, definitely hook this up to a CD player, see how that sounds going through the digital inputs and all that. But very impressed so far. quite a nice unit and great sound for $199. So I'll wrap this up now, try to get back with a full review in probably a month or two, and I've got quite a few backed up right now, so please be patient. It's still lawn care season, and I'm pretty busy working. But anyway, but if this video helped you, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. And the headphone experience on Facebook is up to 33.5 thousand members now, I believe. It's probably growing at about 20 members per day lately, still growing strong. So you're all welcome over there. And once again, thanks for watching my video.